4,808,687,676. It might seem odd to start with a seemingly random set of numbers like that, but there's a point. The point is what we refer to in storytelling as chunking, which is also a very important memory hook for anything you're trying to memorize. But that was actually my phone number. And I'm sure you don't remember anything that I just said of what my phone number is because it's not chunked properly. What chunking is you divide something up into smaller segments so that they're easier to remember. So rather than thinking of a story as just a long list of words, you can think of it as, oh, there's this scene of whatever, and then there's this next scene, and then there's this next scene. And if you can remember the start and finish of each one of those, your brain can accurately fill in the rest of the story without there being any break, basically. The point is, once you make those chunks, it immediately becomes easier to remember because you can go, oh, I just didn't remember that one thing in that first chunk, or whatever the problem may be, rather than just this one large thing where as soon as a single chain breaks, it's over. Instead, you have almost different starting points and different ending points. You have this block, beginning to the end of that block, and then the next block, the beginning to the end of that. Some stories have more than others, like the story of Passover, the Lord's Supper has about 9 different chunks. But it's good to start off with about a medium-sized story, and just what you're going to do is read through the story once and then decide where you think the main breaks are. It's important for you to choose that because it'll be easier for you to remember. And then read it through one more time and then try to tell it to someone. So try to partner up with someone in your family or your spouse and tell them the story. It really is that easy, and you might be surprised at how much you can remember. But it's important for this to either use a good paraphrase translation or to use a already pre-storied version of the Bible story. So I'm going to have a link to John Welsh's site, who has already gone through the process of reading it out of several different translations, telling it many, many different times to make it into more of a storied version. And he has all the stories of the Bible on his site. So you can easily choose one, and it's a resource that I use as I develop my own told versions of different Bible stories. And hopefully it will be a good resource that you can use as you work on learning to tell it well. Now, there's another really important part to storytelling, and that's your first words. The first words of any story are the most important because it's within about the first sentence that people decide whether they're actually going to listen to you or not. And after that, everything is in the light of whether they decided to listen to you in the first place or not. Now, if you're already close to someone and you have a bit of rapport, they might listen for longer, but as a general rule, that's all you have. So it's really important to decide where to start the story, particularly with Bible stories, because it's almost continuous narrative. A lot of the narrative sections are continuous, where they just go one to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other. And so choose those first words carefully to catch attention or to just make it people draw into it. And when you get ready to tell a story, especially for the first few times, just take a few deep breaths, have those words in mind, and then go into it. Good luck.